Hey guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to share with you some questions that I've gotten about my curriculum that I use at home with my kids. And most of those questions have come in the form of emails. Some, I believe, have been left on various videos, but I thought it would be better to just make a video and answer some questions just because I haven't had time to put out content on a regular basis. I don't know if I filmed an end of the year review or shared with everyone what our changes were throughout the school year last year. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to answer some questions I received about my kindergartner last year. So my kindergartner last year is now my first grader. But last year we were doing some different types of curriculum, and he was starting to read with a program called All About Reading, which we used for pre-K, and that was the pre-K program that All About Learning Press puts out, and it was fabulous. I actually use All About Reading with my daughter who has autism, and it works beautifully for her. She loves the program. She's still going strong with it. But for my son, however, it just wasn't working for him. It wasn't clicking, and I had to find something different to teach him how to read. He did learn some three-letter words, and he learned how to read some short sentences and phrases and things, but he just wasn't interested. It wasn't fun for him. He didn't want to read. So I decided to look into a program that Abeka has, which is the K-5 Phonics and Reading. I just so happened to already be doing the numbers with him, which is the math program last year. And so I decided that I would do everything from Abeka. Just to make it easier on myself, I would just teach from one teacher's book and buy all of the materials I needed and just do everything so that it was kind of more cohesive. So what did I get? I got everything you see pictured here, which is all the student books. This is like a logic book. This is the math book. This is the phonics book that's going to teach, it's not going to teach your child anything. It's going to reinforce what you've already taught him. So these are worksheets that have the phonics concepts that you're learning. This is Writing with Phonics, which is either cursive or you can get manuscript, and we have manuscript at our house. So it reinforces the phonics that you're learning, but then it teaches the handwriting to go with it. And this is just an extra writing tablet with, blank sheets and things. Okay, so I purchased this book. So this is the lesson plans. You can't teach everything from these books. These books are just a tool for reinforcing the concepts that you're learning during other times during school, if that makes sense. So there's a lot of writing on the whiteboard or a piece of paper, however you want to do it. There's a lot of teaching concepts that are not coming off of one of these worksheets. So I'll show you what I mean by that. But Abeka makes use of a lot of different charts. This is a vowel chart. There's the consonant chart here. So there's charts for everything that you're learning in the program. If you're learning just the reading, then you would use just the phonics charts. But if you're doing everything, you'd also get charts for the math. This is just skip counting. There's, a number chart. There's letter formation card. There's number words on this chart here. There's a bunch of different flashcards that you can use. There's one vowel flashcards. There's two vowel flashcards. When the children are learning to read, they use blend ladders. So there's also flashcards with just the blends. A blend is a consonant and a vowel stuck together, and they're sounded together. So instead of having the child say each sound and then glue it together, the first two sounds are already glued together. So the child will learn za, so that when you put a consonant at the end, it's a little bit easier for them to read it quickly. So they just say zap. And that's worked really well for my son, learning the blends. So there's a bunch of these. I don't know if I have everything out here with me. So you're gonna also teach through some sight words. And here there are number cards and combination dot cards. These combination dot cards just have like the number sentences as they're learning. You can use these as well. You have short vowel cards and then the long vowel cards. So the children aren't going to learn their long vowels at the same time that they learn their short vowels, at least not as it has to do with reading them in a word. So they'll learn at the very beginning, they're going to learn all the letter sounds. So from A to Z, A says A, B says B, you get the idea. And they're going to learn the letter names, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way to Z. And they're going to keep practicing that throughout, I'd say, the first, 70 lessons or so. They're also, in between there, they're also going to be learning the vowel sounds. And then they're going to learn a rule about there's at least one vowel in a word. And if there's one vowel in a word, it usually says it's short sound. They're going to learn how to mark vowels, which you put the little U symbol above the vowel if it's short. So they're going to learn how to mark vowels. They're going to learn how to blend. And then around, I think, lesson 80 or so, don't quote me on that, they're going to learn the two vowel rule, which is when there's two vowels in a word, the first vowel says its long sound and the second vowel is silent. So they can learn how to read words like hope and cane and ripe, words like that. So while they're learning these rules, they're constantly practicing their vowel sounds. They're learning their short vowel sounds and their long vowel sounds. So these cards come out, I think, later on, like I said, once they've practiced for a while. It's basically taught to them in the sense of that the vowels also say another sound. They say a second sound, a long sound, and you already know what it is because they sing the alphabet song. So they already know what the long vowel sound is, but now it's just connecting that when it's in a word, you say the long vowel sound. If there's two vowels, you say the long vowel sound first, and then the second vowel that's in the word is silent. But anyway, that's all laid out here. So you're going to go through the lesson plans and you're going to teach them in like this chronological order. And for my son, it worked really well. So whilst, I guess if that's even a word, all of this is happening in the lesson 80 or something like that, you're also going to be introduced to this little book here. This is called the Blend and Word Book. So in this book, they have the blend ladders. So if your child has never had a book before, this would technically be their very first book. My son reads little vowel readers, beginner books and things like that, that have the short vowels, and now he's worked his way through the longer vowels and things like that. As they progress, they're going to be able to learn, they're going to be able to read books that have more words in it, because between learning the sight words, between learning some rules, there's going to be a more variety of words that they can read. Okay, but let's say you've never taught your child any reading at all. This would be considered the very first book. So there's blends in here. And again, the curriculum walks you through how you're going to use this book, but you're going to do the chart. They're going to read the chart. They're going to read the vowels, and then they read the consonants, and then they do their blend ladders. So blend ladder is basically, the kids will get to a point where they can just say la, 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 li, and then going to go up the ladder. Li, la, 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 la. Okay, so that might sound weird, but they're understanding that L and I together say li. So when a consonant is put here, like P, they're gonna quickly, hopefully, say lip instead of saying lip. So for my son, I think that's the connection he needed to help him kind of excel more quickly with reading. So anyway, this is the book that they're gonna use for blends, and it tells you when to start, when to stop. Like I marked pages here depending on where he was at. And then there's also words to read in the back. So if, I think some of them, yeah, so it's blends. So they go out of order too. Sometimes they'll do ladders with just the F blend. So it'd be the F with all the vowels, but then they have mixed blends so that the child can say fa, he, la, ge, pa, and quickly be able to identify that consonant and that vowel sound and just blend it together really quickly. And then there's 3-letter words here, and then I think towards the back, yeah, is the 2-letter words. And they learn special sounds like C and K. So when they see a C and K, they call it a special sound. So they know that it only says the K sound in a word. So how they mark it is just they circle it. Excuse me. It just helps them identify what's different about a word. If they're having trouble remembering what CK says, it's just reinforcing the concepts over and over again, that when they say CK, they know it's a special sound. You say it once and they don't try to say like k, k or something. They also learn that when there's 2 consonants at the end of a word, you say the sound only once. So if there's 2 L's, for example, in will or well, they'd only say it once instead of saying will, they would just say will. So they learn that pretty early on as well. So this is a pretty advanced, I feel anyway, way of teaching phonics, but it's really working for my son. And so this is kind of what we switched to. We switched to the whole Abeka curriculum for grade 1. But this is K-5, so I just want to show you the stuff that we got. Not that you need all of these things, because honestly in the back, I like having the charts, the colorfulness of the charts. It just is very helpful for my son. He doesn't like black and white, but if you absolutely needed just what's here and nothing more, you could get the blend ladders from the back. So here's all the blend ladders that you use. So you can make copies of these if you wanted to, or just use them right out of the book. And then also in the back, you have the short and long sounds of the vowels. You have these little letter cards that you cut out, and then you add these consonants to the blend ladders, and then you make the words. So you would just slide the letter down the ladder and then up the ladder, and then the child would say words. What else is here that's useful? Yeah, so they have some just little picture cutouts. They have a lot of different songs to help the kids learn. Like they have vowel songs. They just have some fun different things to play, some games. Oh, actually, they do have a bunch of games that we didn't really play too many of them because they were kind of babyish for him, because he was already beyond knowing, excuse me, letter sounds and things. So he wasn't too interested in playing too many of the games, but there's some fun songs that he liked that we sung. So these are all pages of that. The vowel song. He loved the farm one for the vowels. That was really fun. Let's see. There's even some musical notes here if you want to play an instrument to go along with it. So back here you also have some helpful ways to grade their handwriting. So my son did not use cursive. We just do manuscript because he has learned from Handwriting Without Tears, and so I've taught him how to write since preschool with Handwriting Without Tears. So he knows how to form his letters. But Abeka has a different way where they placement of the dots, I guess you can say. They place the dots differently than where he would start a letter with handwriting without tears. So I just have him just ignore the dot and do his letter next to it, just because he sees the dot and it distracts him from what he knows to do. So he just ignores the dot. But also he doesn't do cursive. So this is cursive. So if you're teaching your child cursive, this just helps you to grade their handwriting. And it also gives you some helpful things to say. I forget where that part is. Yeah, so there's some positive comments page here. It just tells you what things you can say to help your child just be confident in what they're doing, even though you're correcting their work. So we don't start cursive at our house until 3rd grade, but Abeka starts cursive in like preschool. So they teach it really early on. If you do want manuscript lesson plans for the way Abeka teaches the handwriting, you need a separate book. I just don't know what that is because I didn't need it, but I think it's a black and white little supplemental spiral bound book. And if I can find a picture of it, I'll pop it up in this frame right here. So that's what the back has. So let me just go to a lesson. So I marked this halfway because I kind of wanted to show you what it's like once they get reading with Abeka. So the previous lessons, a lot of it is just repetition of letter sounds, blending, saying the rules that they know, reading some 3-letter words, so 1 vowel words, playing some games and things like that. And then at some point they learn some newer concepts and harder concepts. So around this lesson here, I would say maybe even before, I'm not sure, but I just tabbed this to show you guys. So let's go with like lesson 91 here. So lesson 91 has you do some preparation. This is what you're gonna put on your whiteboard. So this is basically, I would write the words. So all these markings here, I wouldn't write the words with the markings. That's what my son does when he goes up to the board. He will end up with all these markings on the word. So if you can see here, if I wrote all these words on the board, bat, hit, cut, and tub, when he came up to the board, he would tell me what the word says. He would tell me how many vowels was in the word. He would read the word, and then he would mark the vowel. So he knows all these words, he marks the vowel, and then we go on to the next set of words. So I'd write bait, hide, cute, and tube. He would read the word. Well, first he would tell me how many vowels are in it. So if he knows that the 2-vowel rule, which is if there's 2 vowels in a word, the first vowel is long and the second vowel is silent, then he would go ahead and mark it. If he knows how to read it, which at this point he could read it, he would read it first and say bait, and then he would mark it. So he's putting the little stick above the A to show that it's long, and then the I, he's crossing out because it's silent in this word, and he would say bait, and he'd do that for all of those. All right, then here it says some materials. Teddy bear, my teddy bear, poem, if you want to do these things. Some of these things were too childish and babyish for him. He didn't want to do it. And other things he really liked. So I would suggest just trying different things. Sometimes, regardless of how old your child is, what age they are, sometimes they like more childish games, depends on their mood, I guess. All right, so then you need some visuals, which is the alphabet flashcards for long vowels, 2-vowel word cards, and it tells you which ones. Let's see if I have it here. So these, in here is where I keep the different things. These letter picture flashcards we used early on. This says that it's for preschool to K-5. So if you did preschool with Abeka, they use these, and then they use them in the K-5. But we stopped using them pretty early on, I'd say. But yeah, this is how they continue to learn how to sound out the sounds of the consonants and things like that. So we use this a lot at the beginning. Let's see what else is in here. All right, so these are the mini flashcards. I think I already showed you what they were. I have 2 sets of these. This is the long, and they also have the short vowels and all the consonants. All the consonants I have in here. All right, so what I wanted to show you is the 2 vowel word cards, which are these. So there's a number on the corner. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, see right there, it says SP, and then there's a number. So this tells you which ones of these you need, and you grab those out. This is the 1 vowel word cards. This goes with that. What else do I have in here? Oh, that's my daughter. She is being so silly today. She's playing a game and she's just cracking up. So these are some readers I actually got at the beginning of the program. This goes with their preschool program. So you can see that they're advanced just based on these readers. So for preschool, they've already learned the 2 vowel rule. And so they're reading words with 2 vowels in them. So yeah, so I got these because I thought they would be easy for him at the beginning of K-5 because they were preschool. But little did I know that they were already teaching like these more difficult concepts in phonics in K4. So I just got them, and once we got to like this point, he was able to read even these readers. So we read those too. Okay, sorry, back to this. So you would, get what you need from there. Let's see what else. So that's the phonics. All right, so then here you have the warm-up and procedure. If you're gonna do this, this is like a review. You're just gonna ask them how many vowels are in a word, what is the vowel, depending on what you wrote on the board, how will we mark it, just reminding them of, oopsie dips, of the 2 vowel rule and 1 vowel rule. So this is what you use once you've written these words here on the board. You can use what they have to say about them here, which I already ran through that with you, but it tells you what to say in bold. And by this point, you'll probably get the hang of what it is you need to say, that you can just not use the script and just use your own teaching methods. So down here is the review. So this is the letter picture flashcards. Oh wow, they're still using these. I didn't realize it because we stopped using them pretty early on. But yeah, if your child has difficulties still with knowing their vowel sounds and knowing their consonant sounds, I think it's nice to have these types of things out still, so you can use them when it prompts you to. Yeah, we used these early on. We'd put the picture down, and then he'd find the picture. If I said, which picture begins with the sound B, and then he would, go to the bib and grab that picture. So I think this portion here, can you be very quiet because mommy's filming a video? Okay. So I think this portion here is for review. Sometimes you're gonna need it, sometimes you just skip right over it. So it doesn't lengthen your lesson. So don't feel like you have to do something that it says to do. If your child already gets the concept and has moved on from it, once in a while I say definitely review it. Just even if they know it, just so they can, practice. But other than that, I'd say just skip it. All right, so here's the handwriting portion. So as you can see, this is how they teach the handwriting with the cursive. We didn't use this guide, but you would do that. And it comes over here as well. Still teaching them application. And it tells you here, and it tells you here which page in the workbook to use. So if you have the cursive workbook, you're gonna just get that page out. So for handwriting, we used Handwriting Without Tears. And when he was done with those books, we just did handwriting with Abeka. And I didn't use any of the script. He would just practice his handwriting and that was it. So we didn't need any of that. So down here is the math portion. Again, it's going to tell you what you need. There's some games you can play. There's some manipulatives you can use. There's flashcards. There's charts, and they'll tell you what to do. Some weeks you're working on certain number families, or addition flashcards, and it'll tell you which ones to get out. So it tells you what you're going to be working on. So they're, I guess in this lesson, it says they're working by counting by ones to 100. They skip count in their math book, I remember, and this is probably, was it before this or after? I don't know, but I think at this point, they've already learned skip counting by tens. My son is really good at math, so he's already learned skip counting by 2s, 5s, and 10s. But not that he's learned it from Abeka. He learned it in Math UC, because we used Math UC last year. We actually used 3 different maths. He did Math UC, then he did Abeka alongside of it, and then he ended up doing Horizons math towards the end. So he did a lot of math. So he got these concepts in a lot of different ways. But yeah, so they're learning different things. This teaches very well. It teaches time. It teaches them how to write their numbers. It teaches all those early math concepts. So I really did like it. All right, so here, continuing on with lesson 91, there's some skill development. And this part is for this workbook. This is like the, I don't know, I guess it's skills sharpener type of thing. It's a nice book, but I feel like it's not as advanced as the curriculum is. But it's good for developing skills like cutting, and yeah, see, it says social and personal skills, and I would agree with that. It teaches them those really fundamental skills about listening, waiting, and things like that. So that is important. All right, so there's some enrichment activities here. There's poetry, health and safety, and social studies. This is a lot of extra stuff, and it's minimal learning. It's just really getting their toes wet in these areas. So in our house, what we do is we teach all 3 of our kids together. We teach them history, geography, Bible, some social studies. It's an expression for, like, you're just learning little bits of information. Sorry, that was my daughter asking me a question. So yeah, so we do that in other areas as a group, but you can certainly do this if you wanted to. In fact, I have all these books and we've used them, so I will try to pop up a little picture of what they look like if you're interested. Okay, so that was it. That was all of lesson 91. Now, the only thing you didn't see in this lesson was the reading portion, which it doesn't have it, I guess, here. Sometimes when they're, what happens is when you're learning a lot about the phonics side, you're not doing some of the reading. So they go back and forth, but they focus heavily on phonics, and then the reading comes in. So when you don't see any lessons for reading particularly, like here's reading right here on lesson 92. So they're doing these little books. So it'll tell you. So here they would be learning, using the I Learned to Read book 4. All right, and you follow usual procedure. So the book 4 looks like that. And so they would get that book, and then they would read it to you. And at certain days they say which ones to read. Like maybe it's page 6 and 7. It depends. The lesson will tell you when to have them read it. And then once my son did it, I just gave him a star and he was done with that book. And then you just move on to the next ones. So overall, I really liked this program, and we're going to stick with Abeka. I really like how they teach the phonics, the reading, the writing, all of it. So we're going to stick with Abeka, and I think that I'm going to try my best at the end of this school year to do the grade 1 overview. But if you have any questions about the K-5 program, please leave me a comment down below. As I'm just gonna upload this video, I will keep an eye on those comments for a little bit, and I'll try my best to check my emails for any additional comments. But I hope I answered your questions about Abeka, because I did mention that we had switched to it, and some people asked me a lot of questions about it. So hopefully this answered some questions for you. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Bye.